someone who's a crypto or blood or a drug addict in the street. They don't know anything about the Bible or God. They're cold. Then it's us. In the UPK, we are what? Hot. That's us.
Hot, 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 hot. Straight out of One West. Ooh, I'm too hot. My grandma keep on telling me I need the cool out. Quick to pull the scriptures out, pull the tool out. Cause we the home of the truth, my nigga, and you not hot, 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 hot.
Give me the precept I asked for earlier. How we what time?
Are we good? 7-11, sir.
So till 8, right?
Yes, sir.
So I got a few of them, all right. Read the precept I asked you about. I'm sorry, you recall? The one about how can one come down from heaven?
Come. You got it.
So Salakia. It was in the book of John. This is the book of John, chapter 3 and verse 13.
All right.
And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from
Say it
heaven.
one more time with the ice, please, Doctor. Go ahead.
But he that came down from heaven.
Let's go above it, all right? You might need this 3 verses above this, all right? Now, this is a difficult breakdown, which, of course, you cannot learn outside of the Israelite school of UPK under Commander General YAHANNA.
Right.
Fake Israelite groups can't break this down to you. Fake Israelite groups, I don't know what in the hell they doing there. I assume that they exist simply not to be in the UPK. That's all I say. There's somebody that says, hell no, I ain't joining them. So they make their own group. All right, and I can dig it. I can certainly understand why you would do something like that. Because, of course, someone like you, I would grind up like bones in the dust. So you should never join the UPK because I would just truly, truly hurt you every day. So I can certainly understand why you might create a group where you won't get hurt by me. I can get that. All right, but you can't learn these breakdowns outside of here either.
Right.
Everybody understands that? All right, so let's go up 3 verses.
3 verses. Come. Verse 10. Yahushua answered and said unto him, Art thou a master of Israel?
2 more verses.
Come. Verse 8. The wind bloweth where it. Come. Verse 6. That which is born of the flesh is flesh. Come. Nicodemus saith unto him, How can a man be born?
1 more.
Come. Yahushua answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God.
Now, to understand this, this is where this begins. Everything I'm going to read after this is about this. Except that Christ came before people who didn't believe in the truth. He came in front of the Sadducee and Pharisee, which were like the religious leaders of their time. So think your Catholic priests, your preachers, things like that. They didn't believe in the truth, but they claimed to be leaders in Israel. They claimed to be experts on God, right? Like your mother's pastor or preacher or priest, right? They claimed to be experts. I appreciate you. And then Christ told them, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Go ahead.
Nicodemus saith unto him, How can a man be born when he is old?
That's what he said. How can a man be born when he is old? What are you talking about? How can a man that's already born and already grown old, how can he be born again? It sounded ridiculous to Nicodemus. Keep going.
Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb?
See how crazy that sounded to him? Is he going to enter his mother's womb again? He's going to crawl back up through the birth canal and come out again? What are you talking about, man? No one can be born again. This person who was a biblical expert, an expert in the law, he could not understand what Christ was talking about. Continue.
And be born.
Go ahead.
Verse 5. Yahushua answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God.
Then he broke it down again. Except a man is born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot make the kingdom of God. Keep going.
That which is born of the flesh is flesh.
Here we go. Now he's saying this in direct response to Nicodemus's question. Nicodemus said, how can a person be born again? What, are they going to crawl back into their mother's womb again? Come out again? Christ, his response to that was, except you're born of water and the spirit, you cannot do what?
He cannot enter into the kingdom of God.
He cannot enter into the kingdom of God. That's him cutting Nicodemus for his answer. What did Christ mean when he said you must be born again? Who can break it down? Let's go. Anyone? Up front. You have to start over. You have to have a new birth. And the new birth is not from your mother's womb. The new birth is what?
Coming into the truth, sir.
You're right, but it's not from your mother's womb. But your first birth was when you came out your mother's womb, right? But this new birth is what? Spiritual. The first birth is physical, carnal. It's, your father had sex with your mother. You were born, you came out your mother's womb. That's your first birth, right? Christ said this new birth is being born of water and of spirit. This birth is not physical. It's not a physical birth, right? It's not the kind of birth that they're fighting about right now in Washington, D.C., about abortion, whether abortion should be legal or not legal. Let me tell you, some of you mothers, you had your child and you were a terrible mother. Absolutely terrible. And you had the kid. You didn't have an abortion, but you killed his spirit nonetheless. Didn't you, right? You killed her spirit nonetheless. You had your child. I guess we should all clap, right? I guess we should all clap and thank God that you didn't have an abortion.
Right.
Well, after the child was born, you didn't breastfeed the child. After the child was born, you brought a parade of men into the child's life. After the child was born, you beat the child with extension cords. After the child was born, you smoked weed and got high in front of your child. I know I should thank you for not having an abortion while the abortion, controversy is so big, right? But I do wish you could have been a better mother. That would have been nice too. I thank you for not killing your kid. I appreciate you. I wish you could have been a mother worth more than 2 goddamn cents. That would have been nice as well. It would have been nice for you to treat your child a little better. To be a little kind to your daughter, as opposed to hating her because her breasts are growing. Hating her because she had her period. Now she's a sexual competition to you around the home. So now it's time to treat her like garbage. I know you didn't have an abortion, and we thank you. But it also matters the kind of mother that you are, right?
Right.
That also matters as well. Well, this next birth is spiritual, and it fixes the old one. It fixes that one, that carnal one, that physical one. You came out your mother's womb, and you became the kind of garbage that your mother taught you to be. But this next birth fixes all of that, because this next birth does what? Whoever says what I'm thinking right now, I will be impressed with. This next birth does what? Read my mind. Focus in on it. Come on.
Changes the way you act.
You better bring me home. You walk down the street, but you didn't go in. Go ahead. You're walking down the same street, but you're not paying attention to what's in front of you, what's right in front of you. You need this to cut Christians. You need to not forget what we're reading right here. We're reading something, right? And while you're breaking the scripture down, right, at camp, you got to be tied to that precept in your head. So it's like in your mind, you're going off to explain it, but you have to be tied to what we're reading right now, which is right in front of you. This next birth does what?
Allows you to enter in the kingdom.
I'll take 2 more and then that's it. No. Let me have a drink, give you a little time. I'm just doing this to give you time. Up front.
It's like you said, the next birth changes your spirit.
You're saying the same thing, but you're not tied to what we're reading right now. It would also show me that you understand what we're reading right now, right? This next birth, one more. You want to give it a shot? You don't have to. Just offering. This next birth. This next birth washes you of the first birth. Cleans you up. Why did I say clean you up? Why did I say wash? Who knows? In the back. Yeah, and you got to keep that in your head the whole time. If you're battling a Christian, you're breaking it down, you're crushing them, you're cutting them. They're on the verge of crying. And the whole time you got to be tied to what you're reading. Tied to it. This is how you know if you're not tied to it. If when you go back to the reader and you don't remember what in the hell you're breaking down, you weren't tied to it. If you go read what? Oh, what are we talking about? The color of Christ. It's because you weren't tied to it while you were breaking it down. You got to tie your head to it. It's a discipline. You're breaking it down, but tie yourself to it, right? And that's how you'll cut Christians in a more efficient way. And the cut will be deeper and deeper until they cry. You understand, right? The next birth, the second birth, washes me of the first one. I came out my mother's womb already. And it was terrible growing up. It was horrible. You got nothing but scars. Nothing but painful memories. That's childhood. Congratulations. You didn't get an abortion. I should thank you every goddamn day. I'm sure at Mother's Day, so you should be handed flowers and candies every day simply for not having an abortion. You could have cut down on molestations a little bit. That would have helped, right? You could have, maybe not let so many strange men coming in and out the house. Maybe get a little less high. That could have helped after you didn't get an abortion. Right. I know I should thank you for having you. You only got one mother. You only got one woman to beat you with an extension cord as well. And to hold your head underwater. Or to hang you to your grandmother. A lot of you call your grandmother mama. You know why, don't you? Everybody knows why you call your grandma mom, don't you? Just think about it for a second. You'll understand. You'll know why your grandmother is mom. She's mom. Because your grandmother, of course, was the actual one that took care of you. Because your mother was too busy chasing penis and or vagina and or drugs all through the community. So your grandmother is mama because she, of course, was in the house and stayed home. The mom didn't have an abortion. She could have done a little better in other areas. Well, when you come into the truth, Christ washes all of that away. Now you're clean. No more of your mother's influence, your father's betrayal. No more of that. You can get clean from that. This next birth cleans you of the first birth. Everyone understands, right? You got to be born of water and of what? Spirit. So this new birth gives you what? Please, young man.
What's a new soul, renewed spirit?
And what does that mean?
Well, we said like, okay, so you don't have the same vibe as you had before.
Give him a hand. I wasn't sure if he was going to know why I asked him. He realized it. That's why I asked you. Because this new birth gives me a whole different vibe, a whole different mood than the one I had that I got from my family and from my block, my neighborhood, and the province I lived in. I'm different now. I know that's how they behave there. I get it. They smoke weed there. I get it. I'm from there, and everybody there gets high. But I have a different spirit. Right? I have a different vibe. I got that with my new birth. Everybody understands.
Come.
All right. Please continue.
Come. And that which is born of the Spirit is spirit.
I read it. And that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. The thing that is born not from your mother's womb, not from the father that you hate or betrayed you or blah, blah, blah. You have a new spirit and you are spirit because you have a new spirit. I'll explain. Keep going.
Verse 7. Marvel not that I said unto thee, ye must be born again.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
Verse 8. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh.
Don't marvel that I said you must be born again. The wind bloweth, and you can hear the wind blow, but you don't know where that wind came from, do you? If you're outside and you just hear the wind wishing by your ear, you know the wind is blowing because you can hear it. But where did that wind come from? You don't know. Keep going.
And thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh, and whither it goeth.
And that same wind that you hear wishing by your ear, you don't know where it came from, and you don't know where that wind is going after it leaves your ear. You know it's there, but you don't know where it came from and where it's going. Stay with me. Keep going.
So is everyone that is born of the Spirit.
Everyone that is what?
Born of the Spirit.
So is everyone that's born of the Spirit. They're just like what? They're just like what?
The wind.
The wind. And how are they like the wind?
Because you don't know why they act the way they
You
act.
don't know why they're doing this. You don't know where it comes from. You don't know what it's going to cause. All you know is what?
What it is?
All you know is what? Right there in front of you. Is that you hear it. That's all you know. And that's how people treat you. All they know is the noise you make. You make a ton of noise. Give yourself a hand. Ooh, you make some noise. You made noise today, I heard. I heard the devil out there didn't like that noise you made. Who did she spit on? She spit on somebody? A bun?
Captain Zaya, and we've
You got spit on. Give yourselves a hand, man. Captain Azariah, give him a hand. You took that full devil spit, huh? Don't worry, you're protected. Don't worry about COVID and none of that. I know you're scared to death. You think you got full-blown HIV. You do not. You do not. The Most High protects men to go to camp. I pray you understand that. They don't like the sound that they hear. They hate it. They hate hearing you. Your family hates hearing you. The neighborhood, the shopping center hates hearing you because they, come on, because they don't understand it. They don't understand it, just like the wind. They just hear it. And because they hear it and not understand it, because they hear it and they don't understand it, they marvel at what they hear. You know what that means to marvel? They're shocked. What did he just say? What did you just say? They marvel at it because they can't understand it. Everybody understands. Come on.
Nicodemus answered and said unto him, how can these things be?
Once again, he doesn't understand. How can these things be? Now remember, Christ just broke down wind. He didn't understand the wind concept. He didn't get it. Go ahead.
Come. Yahushua answered and said unto him, art thou a master of Israel, and knowest not these things?
You telling me you're a master of Israel. You're a preacher and a reverend and a priest. And you don't understand what in the hell I'm talking about? You don't get it? I just broke the whole thing down about the wind. You don't understand. You know why you don't get it? Because you are not spirit. And he that is born of spirit is spirit. Meaning that thing that you don't understand, that you think you're crazy, your mind just is blown because you don't get it, you don't understand it, you think we're crazy. That's because we are the Spirit of God operating in front of you. That thing that is born of spirit is spirit, meaning it's God working. God is working in that thing that you can only hear but can't understand, just like the wind. God is the one that sends that wind. That wind that's blowing. He sent that as well. You don't know where that's going. You don't know where it came from, but you hear it. That is what people hear when you speak. It's something that, is so abrasive and it jars them because they hear it in their ear, but they hear it and don't understand it, don't get it. And then they marvel at it. They're crazy. Nicodemus said, how can this be? What in the hell are you talking about? You telling me you're a man of God and you don't get this? This is something you don't understand? How can anyone in Canada be shocked at what we say when the police said it? You doing studies? The study is saying it. Why is this shocking that we act like this?
Right.
That thing to this day bewilders me. Listen, the UPK didn't pay for the study. We didn't ask for the police to study the thing.
Right.
Why are you doing studies? You know the facts of the thing that we're talking about, and we're still crazy for talking about it? Come on, I have to go. Everybody understands, right? I got to get the hell up out of here. All right? You shouldn't marvel at it. Don't let it blow your mind. We're speaking about a thing that you know is happening, that your police and your governors and the province is doing a study on. We're talking about it. We have been talking about the Catholic Church before the study of the residential schools.
Right.
Since 1969, we have been telling people what was happening in the residential school before the story came out. Why? God told us. God told us. And so we're telling you. So although it's crazy to you, because you don't understand it, you have to recognize that it is God, because the proof is right in front of you. Keep going.
Come. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know.
I pray you understand that. We speak that we do know. We knew that they were hiding bodies in the ground of residential schools. We've been saying it. You brothers have been able. You've been in the truth right now in this room before that story came out, correct? Raise your hand if you've been in the UPK before the big story of the residential schools came out. Raise your hand. Okay, so Dan, you know we've been saying this before the story. Before the research, before the graves were found, we've been saying this. Well, here's what you should be confirmed in. We know what the hell we're talking about, baby girl. We know. But we're saying it's true. It's true. It's clear. It's evident that it's true. We're saying it because it's true. We know what we're talking about. Come on.
Come. And testify that we have seen.
Jesus Christ. We're testifying what we've seen. Right? The thing that you ignore because it would make you enemies at your job. A lot of you can't even grow your beard because, I guess Jeremy at your job might be offended by it or some garbage like that. You can't cover a woman. God forbid you cover your head. If you covered your head, then of course your aunt is going to go, what you into? What you doing? What's happening? I hear you. I mean, God forbid your auntie doesn't agree with every goddamn thing you do. I understand.
Right.
But it should be clear that we know what we're talking about. We're telling you about things that we have seen. We look at it. We examine it while you ignore it. Continue.
And ye receive not our witness.
You know what you do? Read that again.
Ye receive not our witness.
You hate what the UPK says. You hate what Commander General YAHANNA says. You can't stand it. Right. Even though you know that everything we say eventually comes out on the news that it's true. And you will hear about blacks and Hispanics being the chosen people of God on the news. You're going to hear about that. That's going to happen. Someone else will say, well, the North American Indians are the tribe of Gad. They are the Israelites. And black people in America and North America, they are the Israelites. That everyone will say it. Hopefully you'll believe it. Then just remember that we knew it before man knew it. Before anyone else knew it. We say it, and you don't accept our witness. You hate the fact that we say it. We go out in the street, we got to get spit on and abused and violated. All of your mothers hate us. All of your aunts and your family members, you can't stand us. Well, who in the hell did you want your daughter to marry? Huh? Right. Can you imagine how ridiculous it is for some woman to get angry at her daughter for marrying a brother in the UPK?
Right.
Who did you think she was going to get? You think she's a prize? She's not. That girl that you raised was going to get dug out by every nigger with a blunt. Whoever had weed was going to have your child.
Right.
That is the truth of her, because that's how you raised her. Right. So now she marries a brother in the UPK. You're angry because she married one of us? You don't know your child. You don't know her. You don't know what you raised. Being one wife to a man in the UPK is better than being the only wife to a man in the world. Right. Don't you ever forget that. Don't you ever forget. It is better to be one wife of a man in the UPK than to be the only wife of a man in the world. Now, you can test what I'm saying, or you could just believe it, because I know what the hell I'm talking about. Keep going.
If I have told you earthly things, and ye believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things?
I told you earthly things, and you don't believe it. What's the earthly thing he told them and they didn't believe? The wind. The wind, right? I said the wind blows. You don't get it. You don't know where it came from. You don't. Damn, man, that's science. You don't believe me? I told you something earthly, and you still don't believe me. How in the hell can I drop something heavy on you?
Right.
I can't drop anything heavy on you.
Right.
You don't know about wind.
Right.
I can't tell you something that's spiritual, that's heavy. I can't tell you something that's hard to understand from God because you don't even get the wind breakdown I tried to give you a second ago. Keep going.
And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven.
Here we go. Now, I just tried to help you out the whole time. The whole time I tried to give you a hand, all right? And no man can ascend up to heaven except for one. Go ahead.
But he that came down from heaven.
But he that came down from heaven. Break it down. Let's go. What does it mean? What is it talking about? What does it mean to ascend to heaven? What does this statement mean? No man can ascend to heaven except one that comes down from heaven. How about this? What is it? Instead of breaking it down, I'll save you the time from getting saying it wrong 1,000 times. What does it sound like it means that it definitely does not mean? Okay, it sounds like something, but it absolutely does not mean that. Sisters, you can give it a shot too. Don't be scared. What does it sound like it means, but it absolutely does not mean that? Let's start with that.
So like, I don't want
Officer, come on.
When you die, you go to heaven.
When you die, you go to heaven because of what term in it does it seem like that?
Because it says
Ascend into heaven. So it seems like it means whoop, going up into heaven. But you know for a fact it can't mean that because of what? Because it absolutely cannot mean the thing that is. Come on, give it a shot, warrior.
It's like, sir, I had another one I was going to say, like when stupid Christians think that the lake of fire is literal hell beneath the earth.
Okay, now you're coming home now, but you got to walk in the door.
It's like,
And you got to use what's right in front of you. Christians think that hell is what burning hell is your skin being on fire, right?
Okay.
And they think that going up into heaven is whoop, going up into heaven. But you know it can't be that because that would be. You just have to be here for this breakdown today. I explained it earlier. That would be like thinking that being born again is crawling up into your mother's womb and coming out again. That's what they thought, didn't they? I just said that earlier. They thought that being born again meant what? Coming out of your mother's womb again. That's what Nicodemus thought. How can this be? How can a man who is old come out of his mother's womb again? That's like the Christians that think ascending into heaven is going up in the clouds. Burning in hell is being set on fire, right? And thinking that, being born again is coming out your mother's womb, going up into heaven is the same thing. That's carnal. That's carnal. And you think carnally, which is why you can't understand something that is spiritual.
Right.
So now we know it's not that, right? It's not what it sounds like on the surface, which is the whole thing he's trying to break down. Right? He tried to break down the wind. He didn't get that. He's giving you an example of something. He didn't get that. We know it's not the carnal explanation. So then what is it? What does it mean to come down from heaven? What is a Christian going to say about come down from heaven? What is a Christian going to say? Read that part right there. You just read it. Come on.
And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven.
What is a Christian going to say coming down from heaven is? Please.
Like literally coming down from
Literally. Boom, you came out the clouds, you're here on your earth. About to die, you're burning in the lake of fire, your skin is on fire. Be born again, you come out your mother's womb again as a grown man. They think carnally about everything. And that's so many bad breakdowns come from someone who just can't fathom spiritual things. They don't get it. So when they read something in the Bible, they go, clearly that's what it means. It means this thing on the surface, because they don't understand it at all. Because they don't think spiritually. They think about sex and money and food. And so when they read the Bible, they go, okay, well, that means this one thing. And that's all it means. But that's not how God works, because God is spirit. You get the point. So now we know what it doesn't mean. So what does it mean to descend from heaven, to come down from heaven? You know what it doesn't mean. Now tell me what it does mean. It's so simple, and you're going to hate yourself for not knowing, because you absolutely do know. Just think spiritually. Okay, come on.
Salakia, General, can I give it a shot? Would it be reincarnation, regeneration back into the earth, sir?
Coming back, that's physical. Reincarnation is physical, isn't it? Right? Coming out your mother's womb, coming back in the earth, this is spiritual. You coming down the street, but remember, come down from heaven. We went over ascend. Now we're talking about coming down from heaven. What does it actually mean to come from? I'll give you a hint. You come from God. You come from the Most High. You come from heaven. Have you ever heard the term, well, this person is heaven sent? You ever heard that term before? He's heaven sent. Listen, imagine you're having a heart attack. Or I'll give you a better one. Your house is on fire. You're trapped in the back room of your house. You cannot get out of your house. What do you think at that moment? You're going to die, right? All of a sudden, a fireman kicks in the door with a water cannon, sprays the room down, picks you up, lowers you out of the window. What is the first thing you will say? Quickly, the first thing that comes to your mind.
Thank God.
Thank God. Why will you thank God for a fireman coming to your house? Why?
Because you thought a few seconds ago there was no real way that you would be able to.
Why do you say thank firemen then? Why do you say thank God? And that's absolutely what you're going to say if it happens.
Right.
That's what you've already said when you've gotten shot or something and boom, oh, thank the Lord, it missed. Oh my God, thank God. You're going to thank God when the fireman helped you, when something else helped you, some other person helped you. But you're going to thank God. Why, officer?
Because you know the Lord sent that fireman.
Because you know that God sent that fireman. People in the UPK, we come down from heaven. We're God sent. Just like a fireman that comes into your life at the right time, at the time when you need it. But it's not man you should thank. You understand? It's not us that's done it. It's the Most High that's done it. And we come from him. And that's what Christ is trying to tell you. There is no one that can ascend to heaven who hasn't come down from heaven. God sent him to teach people. And because God sent him to teach people, he is going to ascend into heaven. Keep going. I'm trying not to give it to you. Keep going.
Come. Even the Son of Man, which is in heaven.
Man, who's the Son of Man in this context? Christ.
Come.
Why does it say he's in heaven then? If he's right there talking to Nicodemus. Come on, just think spiritually. Don't think literal. Don't think crawling up into your mother's vagina again. Just think spiritual. How is Christ in heaven? Come on. He's with God right then, right now. Give him a hand.
Right.
That's correct. The only person that can ascend to heaven is someone that came from God and who's with God right now, as you hate me and are about to kill me. So remember that. The person you're about to kill came from God and is with God right now.
Right.
And you're going to kill me for what reason? Come on. You're going to kill Christ for what reason?
It's like that one. Because you marvel at the
You're
thing.
right there. Because you don't understand what he's saying. That's why you're going to kill him. Because because what are you talking about? Why are you saying these things? That's racist. Why are you talking like that? You're going to kill him over that.
Right.
Simply because you are dumb. You're killing the wrong person. So like it. Don't kill other people because you don't understand anything. So we got to die because you don't get what we're trying to say. That's what Christ is trying to say. I came from God I'm with God right now. And because of that, I'm going to ascend into heaven, because that's the only people that ascend into heaven, people that came down from heaven. There's a thing that only happens to people. There's a thing, but I'll give you the answer. Only people who came from God and are with God ascend into heaven. Keep going.
Come. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness.
Did what?
Lifted up the serpent in the wilderness.
So many of you might not understand this. I'll explain it first. There was a time in Israel, right, where there was a great plague spread through the camp in Israel, much like the COVID-19 virus, except this was the plague of being snake bit. Everyone was getting bit by a snake. We're living outside. We're sleeping outside. And a plague of snake bites began to happen among the people in Israel. And if you've been bitten by a snake, it's a terrible thing. And if you're outside and away from medical attention, you're going to die, right? And so it was a plague, and the people kept getting bitten by snakes as they were outside. And they went to Moses for help. They didn't know how to solve the problem. And the Lord told Moses to make a golden snake and to put it up on a stick and to raise the stick up above the people. And all the people had to walk under the serpent that was on a staff. And as they walked under that serpent, the snake stopped biting them. No more snake bites. The snake bites went away. I'll explain to you the spirit behind it if you need me to. But to stay on topic, that's what happened. Everyone went under the snake that was up on a stick, and the snake stopped biting the children of Israel. Now read that part one more time.
And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up.
The Son of Man must be lifted up. Come on. I'm fine for now. I'm going to eat out whatever's left. I'll eat. All right, let's move on. I don't know if you know, but I don't miss many meals. I was in the gym today getting so big. I wanted to be at camp, but nobody called me, so I assume y'all didn't need me out there today. I said, these cats is grown now, Jack. I mean, what Junior High recently, he said, Mahayaman, make sure that you tell me when the brothers set up a new school. I said, I will tell you if they tell me, because they don't tell me a goddamn thing. I call Azania, I call a bun, give a man. I said, where is the camp? I would like to come to the camp. I didn't get any return calls. I said, I guess they straight. It was a time y'all needed me out there in that street, huh? I guess y'all good to go now. Moving on. Everybody grows up. I dig it. No sweat. You fully grown now, bud. Azania, I get you. No problem. Get it on. now moving on. Israel had to walk under this serpent. The snake bites stopped. Christ is saying, so shall the Son of Man ascend into heaven. Now, what does it mean to ascend into heaven? Now we know it doesn't mean we get taken up into the clouds and we get a halo and all that. What does it actually mean? What was Christ actually talking about? Christ ascended into heaven. Just like what? Just like what? That's what I need now. Just like what? It's right in front of your face. You just read it. It's right there. Just think spiritually because it's right in front of you. Anything else? Just like, I got to give it to you for time's sake. You want to try? Come on.
Just like the serpent.
Just like the serpent, because the serpent got put on a what?
On the stick.
On a stick. And it went up, and the people walked under it, and they were healed. Well, the people are about to get healed again, which is what Christ is talking about. He's about to go up on that mountain, right? I believe it's called Mount Golgotha. He's going up on that mountain, and he's going to be in the sky on a cross, dying for the nation of Israel. What is the point he's trying to make to the Sadducee and Pharisee? If you can sum this up, I'll be impressed. Sis. Okay, you're right, but not on topic. He's making a whole point that begins where I started up earlier. He's making a point. I'll give you two more tries, then I got to give it to you. Officer.
Yeah, we got to be born again.
No, that's not the point. That's what he was saying. And then as he said that, the Sadducee and Pharisee interrupted and said, "What in the hell are you talking about? How can a man come out of his mother's womb twice?" One more.
So like, is it saying that they will kill him for following God?
You're walking down the street. Here we come. Here's the point out. The only people that will be killed are the people that come from God. That's who you kill. The only people that ascend into heaven are the people who come down from God and are with God right now. The only people that you want to murder are people who God sent. That's who you want to kill. Are people who is with God right now. And what is the reason that you're killing these people with God? Because you're too carnal to understand what they're saying. And because of your lack of understanding, you kill men who came from God. And now he's about to ascend into heaven. He's going up on that cross. If you were to look at Christ, if you were living 2,000 years ago when Christ was alive, and on the day he was murdered and crucified, if you wanted to look at him on the cross, everyone pretend you're looking at him right now. Look in the direction you would have to look at Christ if you were there. Ready? Go. Right? You have to do this. You have to look what? Up in the heavens. Because he's there on a cross. So if I wanted to, when his mother came to see him and was crying, and the sisters that came to see him, they had to look in what direction? He ascended into heaven because he came down from heaven, because he was with heaven. And that's why they killed him. And that's how life works. The people who they want to kill are not evil people. Evil people are celebrated. I don't know if you know that. So, I see a lot of rappers in the UPK. Get your rapping.
That's right.
Now, you do have a disadvantage, however.
Right.
Here's your disadvantage if you're a UPK rapper. You don't get high, you don't tell people to get high, and you don't murder people and tell people to murder people. You don't wear dresses, and you don't tell people to wear dresses. And that is a disadvantage because people don't like that. People like it when you're in a dress. I don't know if you know that. It's hard when you're in the UPK, you like, that nigga's wearing a dress again. Damn it. What, you don't know why he's wearing a dress again? Put it together. He's not wearing a dress again to lose money. Right? Why is he wearing a dress?
Salakish, I kind of have something with the same topic of people in the world like the fact that you rap about sleeping with another man's woman.
They like it.
Stop.
He's not doing it, to ruin his reputation. He's doing it to sell a lot of records because people like it when you're in a dress. People like evil people, huh? People love them. But when you're righteous, you go up on a cross because you came down from God. That's how you get killed, by doing the right thing, which is his point. And you get killed for doing the right thing simply because they're too carnal to understand the spiritual things you're saying.
That's right.
You get it now?